another video.
What's up?
Over here eating skittles. So I feel like in today's society, a lot of us don't really talk about what relationships mean to us. Like, we see a lot of YouTube people and like couples who are like together, but like they don't necessarily talk about the stages of how they got to where they are, because I don't know, some people don't know what relationships mean or what a relationship should look like, especially with all the things going on in our society, and especially with, I feel like, social media being a big impact on how we interact with relationships and one another, even on friendship levels as well. So, babe, how do you feel about dating and the different stages of relationships?
Well, personally, I have like a 6-month plan. we already, you've gone through it. It wasn't 6 months for you, but you know, things happen. So, I think it's important that you learn to like the person that you're with, because in order to commit to someone, in order to commit to something, you have to like it. Like, you have to like it. You're not gonna be with someone who, like, you don't like at any given. You're not gonna work somewhere you don't like. You're not gonna, like, you're just not gonna do that, because that all that does is do you a disservice in the end. Boom. Okay, so I think it was great when we got together, because when we first got together, we became friends, and it started out as us just talking and us finding out whether or not we're able to talk about certain things without feeling certain ways.
Right, so that's not a thing. I mean, was it a different stage?
And while we were talking as friends, what stood out to me and why it meant so much to me is the fact that I was able to speak freely from the beginning. Like, I never felt like I had to lie to you. Like, whatever it was, whatever the question was, I answered it as it came. So I think that was a good thing about, like, us being friends, and because you have to accept a lot of things about a person. And being friends helps with that, because it gives you kind of a look-see on how they are as a person before, like, how they are in a relationship.
Yeah.
So how comfortable they make you as a person might help you in your relationship when it comes to certain things. So I think being friends is cool. That's how I felt about being friends. So I kept it. I tried to keep it in that leadership, because you know I'll ramble on. But I have a question for you. How did that make you feel? Do you feel like it was important for us to be friends before we got together, or do you think that I should have just pursued you, liked you, tried to talk to you the whole time, and then it got here?
No. I feel like it wouldn't have worked out that way, though. I feel like it was better that it worked out that we were friends first, and like we progressed, and we were like notebook pen pals first kind of thing, where we would, when we first started dating, or I guess we were in our friendship stage, we would write like notes to each other in a notebook, and not like on the internet or anything like that. Like, we would like write in a notebook, and like whenever I would see him, I would give him the notebook after I had written in it, and then the next time he would see me, the same thing. And I feel like that also helped, because for me personally, I'm not like a big person where I tell how I feel about stuff out to the person, like face to face all the time. Like, sometimes, like, I have feelings. Like he said, I'm an introverted person, and if you watched our how well do we know each other video, go watch that. I like explained that, like, well, he like said that I'm like an introverted person, so me being an introverted, I not really like, oh, let's just talk about all these things, but like us being pen pals to like in the notebook with each other as like a thing to bring our friendship closer, and getting to be in a relationship was really good, because I was able to express relationship feelings that I had, and be comfortable about them and not having to say them face to face to him necessarily when it started to get to the time where we became relationship-y.
Relationship-y?
I don't know if that's a word.
It's not.
But
It's not.
yeah, when we start to get into
She's a math
closer
major.
to a relationship, yeah. And then like from friendship, I guess for me our friendship was kind of dating. Like that's when we were dating. Is our friendship era. It was like kind of like the friendship dating kind of thing at the same time.
Okay, I could get where you see that. Because I liked you. It wasn't.
Right.
Stop shying away from the fact that you didn't like me at first. We're not gonna pretend that you liked me at first. So you didn't like me, and I kept talking to you, and I didn't want you to feel like I was trying to force a relationship on you. I just wanted to talk, and the fact that I wanted to talk made it easier for us to have those conversations. And the conversations they ranged from being like small little things to really, really big and deep. Could I stay in this relationship after this conversation? Kind of thing. So I think that was a really great thing. So yeah, you didn't like me. So let's start with that. You didn't like me. All right. So maybe that lasted maybe a couple of weeks, but still in all, you like me. All right. I was into you, and you wasn't into me. All right. For the record. But I think that it was very important that we did that because it segued to this. Us being open from the jump, you understanding me and my life, and not only what I've done, but what's been done, and how things went, and all of that stuff helps with us how we are now, being best friends. I could, whenever something happens at the drop of the dime, I'm on the phone like, oh, now I gotta tell Ashantani this, like, yo, wait until she hear this. This is gonna be hilarious. Like, yo, I got something for you to laugh at. Like, I think that's a really great thing in relationships because things get tough. And when things get tough, we have a strong friendship as well that we could fall back on.
Right.
Rather than it being like, all right, now we're like at each other's throats and we don't like each other. Yeah, get out kind of thing.
Right.
It's not like that. It's more like, all right, we might be arguing now, but we're still friends. So how do we get, how do we mesh?
I feel like we have way more relationship arguments than friendship arguments, though. But our friendship helps the relationship. Yeah.
Right.
I
because
agree.
We're able to, even though we might not see eye to eye on the subject at hand, we are able to, at some point or another, understand where the other person is coming from. Even if we can't, for the life of us, agree with it, we do somehow understand where the other person is coming from. So I think that plays a big part in our relationship. Being friends and talking really did help. So we advise that you guys try to be friends. Try to be friends for a little bit.
Definitely.
It's really great. She's my best friend, and I really wouldn't rather do this with anyone else because everybody doesn't understand you. Like, everybody doesn't understand you. And we're not going to pretend that these things are easy. They're not. And it takes a certain type of person who is able to accept you for who you are and accept you for what you've done. Your past shouldn't be held against you. So if you are honest with your friend whom you want to actually be in a relationship with, if you're completely honest with them, moving forward, there will be no surprises.
Yeah, right? And I also think that it was big like that in the beginning of our relationship, or I guess our friendship, more so before we actually got together. That we also talked about our past with each other, like the things in our past that made us the way that we are, so that when we was in a relationship, it wasn't no secrets. Like, oh, this happened to you, and Smojo was telling me like, oh, that he did this when he was younger. Like, we always was honest with each other right from the jump. Like, because we were friends. So like, what do I need to hide anything from you? Like, yeah, we're cool. Like, we're gonna be friends. So you want to know about me, I want to know about you. So we just laid our paths out there for each other. So it wasn't like, whoa, you know that? Like, no. I
And the
know
way
that
you
kind of
the
thing.
way you
So,
imagine these conversations is exactly how they were. Those conversations where you cringe a little bit, and then you have to ask yourself whether or not you're gonna stay, or whether or not you're gonna go. And we agreed that the fact that we were able to actually sit and hear each other confess those things and be open to letting each other know what it is that actually happened and what it was without holding back said a lot about each other to each other. Like, it said a lot to us about one another, and it showed a lot. So that helped move us and progress us to where we are now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then leading up into, I guess, so we talked about friendship. We talked about, I guess, friendship and dating. And we being in a relationship. Being in a relationship, there's a lot of arguments, okay, guys? There's, like, so many arguments. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But, and it's over stupid stuff, like, or little stuff sometimes, like, about cleaning up and things of that nature. And they're little, and sometimes they can get out of hand and things of that nature, but just, like, having, like, a strong, like, I feel like there's
a strong foundation.
Yeah, that too, but also a like. Because it's different to say that you love somebody, right? And you can love somebody, but that doesn't mean that you always like them too. Like,
that's true.
Just because I love you don't mean that, like, I like you right now. Like, or that, like, I like you. Like, even still, like, I can love you, but, like, I love my cousins, but I don't have to live with them. I don't live with them all the time. Like, I don't know if I can live with some of my cousins, but I love them dearly to death. But, like, no.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, I always remember to tell him that I like him as well. Not only that I love him, because I like him.
I like you too.
And then, I guess, being in a relationship and boyfriend and girlfriend for the year that we were, a year and a month, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We went through a lot of just knowing each other and how to, like, balance, I guess, dealing.
That's a good word.
Because we've lived together our entire relationship for the most part and haven't spent many nights without each other since we've actually been boyfriend and girlfriend. So it's like, it was really difficult because neither one of us had ever lived with anyone before that. I guess now this is talking about, like, our life, but, like, neither one of us lived together before lived with other people or a significant other before this, and then, like, finding out how to live with another significant others, and it can get rough at times. So yeah. But I'm glad we did this before we got married because, like...
It showed a lot. And it taught us a lot.
I don't know if I could have done this after we got married because I probably would have been putting my hair out. But
and you know what? It's a great thing that we did do it before we got married because a lot of people don't know how it is to live with someone else. And they get married and they move in together and then it's like, so... this is how you were all along?
Right, but I only knew because you showed what you wanted to show because you got to, like, see them when they wanted you to see them kind of thing, but, like, now I see you every single day, all the time.
The real you after a while has to burst at the seams.
When you get pissed off at stuff, I know how you do it. I know how long you're really mad about it. Although, when we were friends, you can kind of act like you were only mad about it for 10 minutes. But then when we were, like, really together, like, it's like, oh, yeah, you want to be mad about this for a whole day? Like, really?
The power of, it's fine. Don't worry. Over the phone.
A word. It's, like, so much different in person.
Much easier.
And engaged life is now
a very much a learning process.
Yes, it's a learning
Very
process.
much a learning
it's a
process.
journey. It is a business and a hard.
It's a job.
Yes, it can be a job and a really big commitment at the same time, because not only do you realize, like, okay, it's different from being boyfriend and girlfriend with someone, because you're like, okay, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but then, like, you're engaged now, so now it's like, oh snap, this is serious, like, this person wants to be with me for forever. And then you have that time where you're, like, questioning yourself about whether or not you really, like, want to be with this person for forever, or do you believe that God wants you, or, like, you know, if this is supposed to be where you're supposed to be in 20 years.
Reflection.
And not like, oh, am I making a spare the moment kind of judgment kind of thing. And you just have to, like, really figure that out. And I feel like we've had a lot of moments throughout. We've been engaged for almost a year now. So being engaged for almost a year, I feel like we've had a lot of times and a lot of things that have happened to both of us where we're like, yeah, I really do want to be with you for the rest of my life, because if I had been with somebody else in this situation, I probably don't feel like I would have made it out of the situation or been able to go through the situation and feel not so bad about certain situations or whatever the case may be. Like, struggling is real, and death and, like, really big problems in your life tell you whether or not the person that you're with is supposed to be with you for forever. Like, are they gonna be there no matter what, and things of that nature. Like, that's, like, a really big thing. And then also how they support you in those positions can tell you whether or not they're a forever friend or forever life partner. Because it's different. You can tell when somebody, okay, yeah, friends care, of course they're gonna be there and things of that nature, but, like, when you have a spouse or a soon-to-be spouse or forever life partner, they're just gonna go out their way a little bit more in those times for you, in the ways that you need them to. And I've definitely seen that you have done that in the last year.
I tried.
Although times get rough, but
you have also shown yourself to be very supportive. When my grandmother passed away, you were right there the whole time, and I actually felt bad for you that you had to see it the way it happened. But you stayed steadfast, and you really did keep me prayed up and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a really great thing when it comes to those situations, because I don't know what I would have done, because it was a tough loss, right? It was a tough loss for everybody, because nobody saw it coming. Like, it was just crazy. And instead of you being like your cliche, oh babe, it's gonna be all right, it was more like, pray for his heart and pray for his mind, so that I don't become bonded by what was happening.
Right.
So I think that was a really great thing. And some might rather you have been like, oh, like, you know, baby, it's gonna be okay. But I'd rather you have prayed for my heart and for my mind at the time, because I knew where I was at, and obviously you knew where I was at as well. So
right.
that shows a great deal of paying attention to detail and things like that. So,
like I said, like, I feel like that's like knowing your partner,
yeah,
and that's how you can tell whether it's just a friend, because
your friend is gonna care, but your friend is like, I don't really know what to say, I don't really know what to do, but, like, you have my deepest sympathy, and whatever you need, I'll be there for you. Like,
right. But, like, okay, yeah, I know, like, you're sad and things of this nature.
Like, get those prayers without asking.
This I know is gonna pass, but I need to be worried about the aftermath of this. Like, I'm not worried about how you're feeling right now in this situation. Like, yeah, your grandmother died, so yeah, I know you're gonna be mad emotional, but I'm worried about how you're gonna be able to bridge the gap later and be able to still move on in life.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
So
that's a really big thing, and we haven't really had a situation where you lost someone or something like that.
not while we've been together.
Right.
But in those
That's why I said
times,
we. But
yeah.
the thing is, right. There's been other situations where you've needed encouragement and conversation and stuff like that you needed at the time, and I feel like I've tried to come through for you in those areas and pray for you when you need it, and even when you don't, and when you're not paying attention, I try to keep you in prayer, because there's a lot that happens in life and it gets tough. So I want you guys to know that, for one, being friends and before you get into a relationship is very, very important, and two, knowing that relationships have their issues and being in love is a commitment. Don't just throw around the fact that you are in love, because what in love takes out of you, you probably wouldn't want to be saying that you're in love, because the commitment is strenuous and you don't really know what extent you might have to go to show that in love. So if you're not ready to show that in love, you've got to get yourself to that point where you're ready to say, I'm fully committed to what it is, and that's just that. Or
yeah, because being in love, and everyone changes like so much all the time. And when you're in love with someone, you have to watch all those changes happen before your eyes. Like, they don't get to put on like a different face when they live together with you, because like whatever they're going through, whatever's happening at whatever time it's happening, like you get to watch all the phases of that happening as it's happening, and you're like,
you feel it.
Oh, okay, so how am I about to deal with this? Oh, okay, how am I about to deal with that? And like you don't have that, like, oh, I get to see them on the phone and they can tell me whatever they want to tell me, or I can see them in person, they can tell me whatever they want to tell me. So yes, being in love is definitely a struggle, because you have to watch the person that you love go through changes, whether they want to or not, because we're human and everyone goes through changes at certain parts and times in their lives. And whether they completely change from being the person that they was when you first met them to being somebody different, is whether or not the change that they made was for the better.
And sometimes the change is that, like, they're not how they were when you first get together. That happens more often than not. But what we do is we hang on to, like, those little things that you've done or the little things that you said, not really knowing that once you get into the swing of things, you almost forget to say those things while doing something else as the relationship progresses. And like you said, everybody changes, and while things change, do I still want to be saying the things I was saying back then if I'm changing? Like,
right.
So all of those things play a part.
Because you're not the same person I fell in love with at all.
And the thing is,
but I still love
that change, you might not like it.
Yeah.
But you might realize that the change, some way, somehow, is for the better of the relationship and to strengthen the relationship at some point. It might not look like it at first, but as long as it's not like really bad changes for the worst, I think it's worth being open-minded about it to see actually what happens with it, because people change and you just be like, you know what, I don't want to be with you because you changed. But to understand what happened and understand the progressions of the relationship and things like that help, especially when you're friends, because you can talk about the things that changed and talk about why you don't do the things you used to do and stuff like that. And
both of us changed completely from where we were when we first met each other, even as friends. And like some things that we've changed, like sometimes I don't like all the things that you change all the time, and I know that you don't like everything that I've changed. But like there's reasons why certain things changed. Like, I've gone through a lot of other stuff since we've been together that has changed me, but you understand that, and we're able to work around around that and like understand that my adjustment isn't intentionally towards you, but it's how I'm dealing with whatever I'm going through. Right. Life does happen.
Life happens.
But at the end of the day, it's they're worth fighting for.
Exactly.
Are they worth being with through all this change? Because the same person that you met when you were 19, 20, 21 is not going to be the same person when they're 50. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what person is exactly the same way they were when they were younger. Like, as in 10-year, 20-year gap. Not saying when you was younger 1 year ago. Like, right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why I feel like divorce rate is high now, because, like,
we're no longer accepting of the fact change. That things happen and changes.
Change. Yeah.
Right, and people change. So I think that's a good point too, that people change, and we're so hung up on what they did that we can't really see what they do. And I think we're moving more towards not holding on to what used to be, but seeing what we do now. And yeah, he doesn't do XYZ, or yeah, she doesn't do XYZ, but now she does XYZ and he does
also,
XYZ.
It's always easier for people to be like, okay, pick up on the negative stuff. Like,
right.
It's easier to be like, oh, you changed this and I don't like this change. But like good changes that people make, like,
it's harder. And
who talks about that?
I'll even attest to that, where I could really shine lights on the things that you do differently that are negative. And I neglect to say, you know, babe, you did change this and that was great. You know, like that was great. And I'll, cause we're quick, but that's a natural thing too. Yeah. And that makes you really think. It's a work in progress kind of thing. If you actually want to get to a point where you can see the great in someone despite the negative. And that's where that unconditional love comes in. It's like there's no conditions. I love you
no matter
in
what.
spite of. And that's a big thing. And I think that goes with maturity too. And without being blind. Without being blind, it goes with maturity. Now, whether I have to love you from afar or we could be in this relationship is different. But in this case, I'm working on trying to be better at shining bigger lights on what you do good than the negative, which I'm having trouble with right now. I could be honest about that. I am having trouble with that right now. So that's a great thing to work on, trying to be at a point where even though the naked eye is clouded by negative things, you still always remember what is great about what you do and things like that. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. This video is type long, so
excuse a long video. But I think these things had to be said. And moving forward as far as like engagement to marriage is concerned, I am marrying my best friend.
Indeed.
And it is really cool that I'm marrying my best friend. It is scary that I'm marrying my best friend.
Really?
It's thought-provoking.
You never said
right?
that you were scared.
I'm not scared to marry you. I'm scared at what we're going to do in this world. It's a scary thing. Not necessarily scary as in bad, but like scary as in good. Because of how well we work together and things like that. So, and we believe a lot. Like, we believe in a lot. You guys will see it. Like, over the course of time and us having conversations, we do believe a lot. And we do believe in a lot of change. So, it gets scary. It does get scary. Scary good though, not scary bad. Like I said, so I'm not frightened at the fact that I'm marrying my best friend. I am excited. I am excited. Scary, excited. I like that word. I like that word. Scary to the point where it's excited to the point where it's scary. That, yeah. So, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's been tough. All right, it's been tough.
Face, cause like
Okay?
he's crazy.
It's been tough. And I know it's not easy. And I'll be the first one to say it's not easy to deal with someone like me. I'm really opinionated. I think too fast for most. I'm pretty bad. I'm pretty bad. Let's just go with I'm pretty bad. All right. And she accepts me for who I am, and that's a really great thing that I appreciate about her. Is the fact that she does have a lot of patience with me in deciding whether or not to stay, because I'm sure there's times where she's halfway out the door, but she decides to stay with me, and she decides to love me in spite of, and I appreciate that. I do. All right.
Well,
That was
on
a
that
lot.
note, what's my closing arguments about marriage? Oh, well, I just feel like marriage right now for me it's like a bittersweet moment.
Uh-oh.
Like, I'm not in the sense that, like, I don't know, like,
I'm paying
the
attention.
sign, I guess, at being a bride or soon to be bride, I guess, whatever you want to put it, it's like, especially when you're planning your own wedding like I am, like, I just cannot think about the excitement because I'm just like so worried about everything just going the way that it should go, and like that, and people just listening and helping me, and so that the day can go the way I want it to go right now. So like excitement hasn't really kicked in. It hasn't kicked in for the last year. I mean, although I do have bursts of excitement when like the invitations came and the save the date came, because I'm like, oh, it's here, it's nice, it's what we wanted. But like generally though, when people ask me, I'm just used to like, yeah, it's happening, like, and then the day of, ask me then how I feel about it, okay?
Then we will see her deflate.
I'm excited for it to be over. Like,
not excited
not
for it to be
like,
over, but like
not like the wedding to be over and for us to actually start our lives together. Like, I'm really more so excited about that. The whole wedding thing is not that I'm not excited about that, but like,
the wedding is the first part of something that is so much bigger.
Right, yeah.
And we speak about it all the time. And moving forward, like our wedding is just the beginning of something so much bigger, and we don't yet understand it. We don't yet understand it, and we're still trying to work out what it is that we're actually supposed to do. But we can tell that what we are doing and what we're going to be doing moving forward is far bigger than what we have now. So, you good?
Yes.
I'm good. So, again, don't forget, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Snapchat, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe.
Also, guys, don't hesitate to comment on our YouTube channel. Send us topics that you want us to talk about. It doesn't matter. We'll talk about anything for the most part.
Anything.
Like, we love to talk about deep stuff and not just regular stuff.
I want to cry.
I don't want to cry necessarily, but
I want to cry. Give me the cry. Give me the cry. Give me a topic that's gonna make me cry, and I got you.
Why?
I don't know.
Just
Things.
cry.
You know what? It's not that I want to make us cry. It's about us being passionate about things, and I
we
know
are.
that there's topics out there that we could talk about that would really touch, like that would really touch us personally, and I wanna do that because I think it's important. With us having our opinions and our perspectives of things that happen and how they happen.
So yes, make those comments.